Hey, I created a new agent thinking, how can I displace my job? How can I disrupt my job? So that's what I've done here. And I want to walk you through this agent. So, my job an OCM consultant is to do OCM engagements. In those OCM engagements, we do some interviews with different people to understand, where Copilot can be beneficial. So I thought, if I want to reach out to not just a few people, but 1,000 people and collect information, I sure can do a survey, but it's very limited. Or maybe I could build an agent that an agent that will behave like me, asking question after questions to people, so I can gather information not just for 10 people, but for 1,000 people. So let's try this. So it might be a little bit clunky. I'm not an expert of developing agents. I'm not a developer. So I did my best, and we'll see how it goes. So here, I have the first question to start the conversation here. So hopefully people will click on this, and probably I'm going to send an email with this and saying click on this. And so it's an agent that you can share. Here I'm sharing it with a few people, including myself. It's a little bit schizophrenic here, but I'll do it with my account, entering myself. So it tells me, okay, I'm here to understand your experience on how generative AI like Microsoft Copilot could be potentially a benefit. So the first question I have here, do you currently use generative AI tools in your work or personal life? If yes, could you share how you use them? Yes, I use Chat GPT to help me in my personal life to find information. Basically, I don't use Google anymore. Also, what can I say? I use Chat GPT to summarize some work reports or to make them more comprehensive, or yeah, let's say that. And let's follow this interviewer. That's great to hear. It sounds like you're already familiar. Okay, what are some tasks in your day-to-day work? Task. Oops. Okay, so it changed it on the fly. I don't know why. Could you tell me more about your day-to-day work tasks? Specifically, what are some tasks you don't enjoy doing, tasks that are time-consuming, or tasks you wish you had more time to do? I have too many emails to catch up on, too many meetings. I have to duplicate information in several systems, and it's hard for me to follow what my team is doing. So I'm describing my task, my pain point. Okay, it's very empathic, thanking me. Okay, what does it say now? Thank you for sharing those details. It sounds like you have quite a few challenges. Okay, emails, you mentioned having too many emails. How do you currently manage your email workload? Are there specific types of email that you're particularly overwhelming? Meetings, you have many meetings. These meetings mostly internal. Okay, a lot of questions here. Duplicating information, you mentioned duplicating. Okay, so you want to understand more deeply. So, how do I currently manage my email workload? I check my email twice a day. The emails are overwhelming, are usually internal or external emails to manage projects, questions, or feedback. For the meetings, how do you currently keep track and key points and action items for these meetings? I cannot attend all the meetings and have to watch the recording. But most of the time I don't, and I ask people in the meeting to tell me how it went. And no wonder I have too many emails, and they have too many emails. Duplication, beginning information system. Can you give example of this? I have to enter project tasks in several systems. Like project planning tool and billing system. Team coordination, you find it too hard to follow what your team is doing? How do you currently track team's progress and tasks? I have to meet with each individual to figure out what they did. Okay, hopefully it will help. So I explain, I'm following the bot here, answering some questions, and we'll see what's get out of it. Thank you. Okay, it's really weird because it changed the format, though. I need to fix agent probably. Emails, challenge, overwhelming, potential comparative benefit. Okay, it gives me a preview of the potential benefits. That's pretty cool. So I can see for a challenge, I have the benefit. Could be a full summarized email. Yeah, of course. Unable to attend meetings. But could generate meeting summaries, highlight key points and action items, recording. Okay. Entering project task in multiple system. Copilot could automate the process. I will be interested by that. Team coordination. Okay. Copilot could provide a consolidated view of team's progress, generate status report. That will be cool. Now, considering this potential, do you have any concern about deploying it in your workplace? For example, are there any privacy, security, or integration issues that you're worried about? Yes, I have a few concerns. One is the accuracy of what Copilot is giving me back, and second, I'm afraid that people will over rely on it and don't put their knowledge and own voice in the content they leverage with Copilot. Okay. So I'd rather have a discussion, a vocal voice discussion, and I guess in the future I'll be able to develop an agent that talks. But here it's just text. But it's guided. It's way more interesting than having a survey because it gives me some feedback along the questions. So it's definitely more conversational. So let's see. Thank you for sharing your concern. Let's delve into them a bit more. Concern the accuracy of the information Copilot provides, potential mitigation, ensuring that Copilot is regularly updated and trained on latest data, best practice, additionally implementing a review process or human oversight. Critique task. Okay, it gives me again some feedback and some recommendation on mitigation. So over reliance, encouraging a balanced approach where so at the same time, and which I wouldn't probably have the time to explain that during an interview because I will lose the time I have here. The time is the time that people are going to spend to answer the question to the bot. So here it gives me some mitigation, which is pretty cool and gives me some insight already. Now, if Microsoft 365 could save you several hours of work each week, how would you use this extra time? What activities or tasks would you focus on? We'll focus more on being more creative, rethinking how we can work better, developing new offers for our customers, upskilling myself and my team. That's what I will do if I had more time. So let's see. Not sure what will be the next question. So I didn't solve this problem, but it asked me to allow to connect to Outlook. So I'm going to say hello. I think that's ending the conversation here because the agent is supposed to send an email. So it tells me, I don't know what it tells me, you're welcome, but thank you very much for your time. You will receive an email with a summary of the findings. So now let's see if I receive an email. Apparently I don't have an email yet. But that's the goal of my agent. And I made several tries, so I just changed the agent. So, oh yeah, still working. So as an email, I have an interview summary, and it gathers all the information. It sent a summary of basically, I frame it in a way that I understand the level of familiarity, the main concerns, the main source of excitement. Not sure if it's accurate here, but because it didn't ask a question about excitement, but it's doing a pretty good analysis based on what I said. Main Copilot use cases in place or expected, main challenges. So as you can see, I can automate an email to thank the person and summarizing what has been said. I could also log this in a SharePoint list, for example. If I have 1,000 people, I want to maybe centralize that somewhere, all the information, so I can gather and do all the things with Copilot to analyze everything that has been said to the bot. So how did I develop it? So basically I use Copilot Studio. It's no surprise here. And it's pretty simple what I've done. And as you can see, I can still work on it to do it better. I didn't use the latest model. I took it by default, so I can try if GPT-5 works better. So I gave it a name. I didn't put a logo. I'm waiting for Microsoft to generate the logo for me soon. And the focus is here, the instructions. So, I say you are a professional interviewer who is empathic and active listeners, and I explain the goal. So your goal is, and I'm saying this. So, do people already using generative AI? What are the main potential Microsoft use cases they will benefit? Identify the top 5 Microsoft Copilot benefits. Ask questions. It didn't do that. Ask questions to understand their day-to-day challenge where Copilot could be beneficial. Start with what they don't like to do. So he understood that. Then what is time-consuming? Identify if there are any concerns regarding. So he did that. Ask them if Copilot was saving hours, what would they do? He did that. So I explained then the conversation pattern. Ask one question at a time. So he did that, but sometimes he had a lot of questions in one question. So it's not perfect. So maybe I need to play with those instructions to be sure it works better. Reframe the question if it's not understood with an example of an answer. I don't remember if it gave me some example of. Yeah, it did. Don't assume people know Microsoft 365 Copilot. So I guess he used generative AI most of the time. Be sure that to have at least 5 insights for each topic, the concern, the excitement. I didn't have that. I didn't have the 5. So if we look at the email here, I only have 4. So it didn't do a thorough job here. But I wouldn't have the 5 answers neither in a conversation. So it does enough job for me. And what else? The output of this conversation should be, so I want to know this information from the conversation. So the level of familiarity, the main Copilot concerns, the main Copilot source of excitement, the main Copilot use case in place, the main challenges in their work, organized by theme. So I have that, 2 sections, but it's not organized by themes, because maybe there's not enough. Or maybe my instructions are not clear enough. I should probably give an example of how I want it to be structured. That will help. Then I say, send the email and warmly thank the interviewee and close the conversation. And the only thing I added is a tool, which is send an email. And if you look at the send an email, obviously I didn't test it with other people yet, but I said send it from my email, and it should be sent to the person who answered the question. So it's dynamically filled with AI. So that should be enough to send an email with the summary. And I could add other actions where I could log all the answers in either a document or a list, SharePoint list, whatever you need. And that's all. The next thing I did was, let's go to the settings. I didn't change anything to the settings, but I said yes, response will be dynamically using. So that's why maybe there was some change during the demonstration, but basically, based on what I'm saying, is building the conversation to ask me the next question and reacting to that. So that's important to have on. If you don't use that, then you have to use topics to be sure that, if the person said this, you should do this. Here it's more built on the understanding of the context of what he said, that it will trigger something that he decided to do. And I didn't change the model. I didn't change anything else. I didn't change the moderation. I said use general knowledge. That might be helpful sometimes when, if in the conversation there's something about Copilot, if I don't point at what is Copilot and use its general knowledge, it can be also risky because it can pollute your conversation. So it depends on what you want to do, but I let it on, and I let the search on, the Turner Graph search on, and sometimes you want to turn it off if you don't want to rely on information that is part of your tenant in this conversation. So you might want to change this a little bit. But I wanted to show that you can, the idea I think is what is interesting is you can, instead of doing a survey, you can have a better conversational discussion. That's what we do. Where in our engagement, we do interviews with people and then we do a survey. Here, I can do thousands of interviews. And, I need to test it at scale. But sharing obviously, the customer needs to have Copilot, so it's not, I'm not going to do that soon. But I'm going to do that with some colleagues. But you can see that's a use case that is more engaging because it's like a conversation. But like in a conversation, we might not think about all the responses the person can give, so it might go somewhere I'm not expecting. But then what I did after I finished that, first I published the agent, and then I decided to publish it in a channel. So you go to channels, and I published it. Actually, I published it in Teams and Copilot. So what you saw, it was Copilot, and so you can. I think it's where is it? You can change. That's where you can change the icon. I think this is for Teams. You can change the color. You can give the name of the. I don't remember if you can give the name of the. Yeah, I gave the developer name, and that's. I think that's about it. So I didn't change that. Maybe what is it? Yeah, copy the link and I manage sharing. That's probably the most important thing is to share it with the right people. If you don't want to share it with everybody, so I put some of my colleagues and share it as a viewer, not editor, so they could use the agent. I'm waiting for them to give me feedback on how they found the agent and see some result from them. But that's where you're doing that in channels. When you select this, you can change through not the details, through the options. You can manage the sharing and then copy the link and share the link with the people. And also you can use the agent directly in Microsoft 365 by clicking on here. And that will instantiate the agent in your environment, and it will say add the agent, which I already added. So if I want to update it, I can do that. And that's where I had my conversation that you just saw. With here it is. The agent is here, and you can collect information. So it's super powerful. Another way to use it, and I can try to see if it's still working, is to publish it in Teams. So it's the same process, but in Teams. So when you're sharing the link, you can put it in Teams. So let me find, this is the previous test I did. So I can try to do a new one. I don't know, how to clear a conversation, so we can try again. So let's see. Can we do an interview? So, but you see the engagement is a little bit different because there was topics, so I have to adjust. And I give the answers one by one. Gave me some also follow-up questions and what do you think? And I say everything looks good. And so I was saying here, maybe it was a previous version, had less conversation. It stopped faster. I'm here to interview the Unify. Ready to start? Okay. Yes, I'm ready to start. Let's try in Teams to see. And again, that generative AI so might not go the same way than the previous one. So let's see how it goes in Teams. So either you deploy it as a bot in Teams, or you deploy it as an agent in Copilot, or you can even deploy it somewhere else. But here it's just both options that I used. Do you use a generative AI tools like chatbots? Not at all. I'm not tech So maybe Teams is more conversational, looks like more conversational. Maybe people are more used to use Teams to have a conversation than an agent in Copilot. Okay, what are some tasks in your daily work that you don't particularly enjoy doing and find time consuming? So the same kind of question actually. I spend too much time in meetings and I have a terrible process where I need to check if all the invoices sent by our lawyers are matching our contracts. It's very manual and time consuming and prone to errors. Okay. So I'm trying to diversify the feedback here. And again, sorry if the video is too long, but it's to show you the potential and how, even for me, it's fun. And it's more, I like it to be conversational instead of doing a survey. Thank you for sharing your challenges. And so it tells me again, give me some insight about my issues, potential issues, saying you can do this. Automating the process of checking voice against construct. Okay, that's extraction, automate comparison, workflow automation, the trail. So it gives me some potential capabilities of Copilot where it can be beneficial. And you ask me the third question. So if Copilot could save me hours of work, how would you use this extra time? I will spend more time with my family and I will catch up on all the tasks where I'm late. So he's not as conversational as a real discussion for sure, but close, and it's a bot. So we all have been using bots, and we know what it is. So it tells me now that it thanks me. I don't know why it says you're welcome. It's so stupid. I need to change what triggers that. But thank you very much for your time. You will receive an email and summary of the findings. Here it didn't ask me to sign myself in Outlook, so I guess it's because I did it before. So maybe you just doing it once. And so let's see the email. If I receive an email, I didn't hear the noise of the email, so it might not be there. That was the previous one. As you can see, I did all the tests. So I'm gonna make that as red, and we'll wait maybe a few seconds. While we're waiting for the email to come, just going back on the core of the agent is the instruction. So where you need to master if you have to master something about agents, is definitely the instructions. It definitely structure the instructions. That's why I put this with some dash here to help the agent understand what I'm doing and the goal, the conversation patterns, the output. And I can probably do a better job. And definitely you need to test. You can test it here from here. And then you can adjust your instructions based on your test. And I will say, in general, also monitor, how people are using your agent to see if there's bad feedback or good feedback, and adjust your instructions to the feedback given by the users. Because sometimes you didn't think about an instruction that could help the user or can orient better the user, and you will be surprised with how people are talking to the agent. So it's you never know before. You don't figure out all the instructions, but you can optimize that with the time. So apparently it doesn't send an email. I don't know why. I guess. Oh yes, it sent. No, was it the same? When was it sent? No, it's not. It didn't send the email. So something is missing with Teams. Didn't work with Teams. So another thing you can look at is, I don't know why it didn't work. Oh yes, it worked. I'm sorry. Not tech savvy and does not. Oh, so it worked. Sorry. No specific concern mentioned. Potential to say. So it didn't ask me questions. So that's that's the kind of thing I don't understand. Sometimes it asks me questions about concerns, and sometimes it doesn't. So I need to check my instructions to figure out what's the best way to give the instructions, so it doesn't forget to ask questions and concerns. And here I just saw in my instructions, I was not very direct in what kind of questions you should ask. It's more, the goal I give. So I let him the choice in how to achieve the goal. That's where I might be more prescriptive, saying, I want you to ask those questions, whatever the order is. But what I wanted is to have some flexibility, so it's not exactly the same question over and over. And depending on what the people are answering, maybe it will be better to have another question. So I'll let some flexibility, but apparently I don't have a consistent result. I have a consistent framing of the result because it really comes back with the same output. But as you can see, there's no five answers. I need to work on those instructions, but I wanted to share that that's a use case. I will see the benefit when I polish my agent, where instead of doing a survey, instead of having interviews, limited number of interviews with people, you can scale. You can scale and make it more friendly than a survey with some conversation. It can be fun, and definitely it can be very, very time saver and collect a lot of information that you wouldn't connect otherwise, and maybe a survey will reach the same purpose, but maybe with less open-ended questions where people can have a conversation. Hope this was insightful, a bit long, but I wanted to show a use case that opens to fantastic time savers and definitely a new way of working.